Welcome to the Adhocracy Show, the show for people who know a good Super Bowl commercial when they see it.
Time out. We'll be right back. Welcome back. I am David Landeen.
And I'm JD Melville, and welcome to the Adhocracy Show. Now, today we're going to talk about something very exciting. Next week is the Super Bowl. I'm sure you all knew that, right?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I've at least heard of it.
Are we ready for it? Are you ready?
I think so, but I haven't fully studied everything I need to.
True. Now, what we're going to do today, we want to give you some crucial information to help you out to really look at the Super Bowl and be, a good critic of these Super Bowl commercials.
Exactly. Come on. The game, nobody cares about that. Let's talk about the commercials, why everybody really watches the Super Bowl. This year, a Super Bowl commercial will set a company back $5 million, and that is just to get it on air.
And for this, depending on the advertiser and things, we're going to see some of the best advertising, some of the worst advertising. We're seeing stuff that misses. It's going to be a very I go to the Super Bowl to see the commercials.
Yeah, you go and get your snacks during the game so you don't miss any of the commercials.
Do we know who's playing in the bowl? I don't.
Just
kidding. It's
two teams.
It's the Panthers and the Broncos.
Yeah.
That's who it is. Got it.
We're sports people.
I love to sports.
All right. So you may have been in this situation before where you watch a commercial on TV during the Super Bowl and you're like, man, that was so dumb. I hated that commercial.
And then you go to work and someone at work or at school goes, oh, did you see this commercial? This is the funniest commercial.
And you're like, wait, what? I don't know what I'm talking about. You don't want to be there.
And we're going to help you out. So never fear. We are here. And I think the best way to look at this is through what's called a creative brief.
The creative brief is the research. You take all of the research that the company does before even starting a commercial about who their audience is, who they're marketing to, what their messages are going to be, and you boil it down to one page. And then you hand that one page over to the creative team so that their commercial matches all of this research that you've done.
And really, it's going to hold that team accountable for what they do. It's going to say, okay, what are we going to accomplish? If it doesn't accomplish that, then you've missed on your creative brief.
You just wasted $5 million.
So we're going to go through this creative brief question by question, but we're also going to show you some of the past Super Bowl commercials and how they did in that. And the best way to do that is as referees. So we're going to don our official referee hats. And we've got our whistles here. We've got to roll it up like an official referee. I've got it. Okay.
All right. It works. All right, so let's go through our first question you're going to ask yourself on the creative brief. Why do you need to advertise?
Now, this is important because if you don't know why you need to advertise, if you don't know what your purpose is in going into this, then what are you going to say? What are you going to do? Where is it going to go to?
Are you trying to change a perception, change a message, introduce yourself? To do the commercial we're going to talk about here is from Goldie Blocks, and this was a commercial where you have a whole bunch of these little girls and they take all of their princess toys and their pink bicycles and their horses and all their girly toys, and they run and get rid of the stigma of what it is to be a girl. And then at the end of the commercial, they take all of their toys and launch them into space on a rocket that they engineered themselves.
Now, this campaign was part of the Intuit QuickBooks. They had like a competition. They do it again this year, where they have a small business and they're advertising for that small business.
This company was relatively unknown before this commercial, and their purpose of advertising was to introduce themselves and to get some exposure.
Absolutely. So we're going to call this First Down.
First Down.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So the second question on this is, what is the advertising going to accomplish? Now, this is the benchmark. This is saying, okay, you're putting this commercial out. What is that going to accomplish? It may hit on that. It may not. But that's really what you're going to hold yourself to. So what we're going to talk about for this one is the 2013 GoDaddy commercial. You may have seen this one,
There are two sides to GoDaddy.
and I'm
There's
going
the
to warn
sexy
you,
side
it is
represented
a
by
little bit
bar
hard to
appealing,
watch.
and the smart side that creates
Basically,
a
it
killer
shows,
website for your small business,
the racer, their
represented by
spokesperson.
Walter.
They show
Together,
a supermodel. They show the IT guy, the computer guy, and this is the melding of the super sexiness and IT, I suppose.
It was bad. I don't know. Like, nothing against people kissing, but oh my word, there's just such a disconnect here of what they even wanted to accomplish.
Well, and I was at my in-laws watching this, and I mean, watching some stuff in that situation is cringeworthy already when something like that comes up.
Yeah. So we are calling this an incomplete pass because really nothing happened. They threw it, nobody caught it, and this will result in hopefully a loss of footage forever.
They may have gotten exposure, but not the exposure we were wanting.
Yeah. Next up, we have the question, who are you trying to connect with? You know, you need to know who you're talking to. For us, we're talking to you, and we hope that you like what we're saying, and we hope that you're marketers, that you're like us. For other,
really, you're in this section. You're talking about who is your target audience. If you think your target audience is everyone, you're going to miss because you can't really get absolutely everyone. This is going to be concise. You're going to say, you know, how the age range, how much they make, what they do, what's their interest, those kind of things.
So we're going to talk about the 2008 Sobe Life Water advertisement, where there's a girl and she walks in and there's a lizard on the ground, and then like the lizard drinks some Sobe Life Water and then starts dancing, and I guess this is also supposed to be like a 3D commercial. It's gonna be the coolest thing. Everybody's gonna have 3D glasses. Everybody's gonna watch the commercial and love it because it was 3D. And I guess their target audience was people who like lizards and 3D glasses. We really don't know.
Well, I'm going to rule on this one already
Okay,
for
let's
you.
hear it.
I'm going to say false start, and this is going to result in customer confusion.
Lots of customer confusion because dancing lizards, right?
Because.
Yeah.
So the next section on the creative brief is, what are the most insightful things we know about the target? Now, in this section, you're really looking at what do they do? Where do they frequent? What are some of the magazines? What are some, do they go to the gym? What kind of things do they do? And for this one, we're actually going to go to the Doritos commercial.
Just go ahead and take
This
any
is
empty seat
this is
you
one
see.
that was fan made. They do the across the Super Bowl commercials. A guy who has a middle seat open, he wants to keep it open, so he does everything possible to make sure nobody else sits in that seat until he sees the pretty girl, and he's all excited, and he's gonna let her sit there, and he holds up Doritos, and then there's a baby.
This is great because one of the things, when you get to the Super Bowl, you're looking at these commercials, you've seen them time and time again. You've voted for them, you've looked at them. The real thing about their commercials is the exposure that they've had as an event. And I think we're going to see a lot more of this is them making an event of that commercial.
I'll make the ruling on this one.
Go ahead.
We are calling this an interception, resulting in the acquiring of new customers who will now create content for you.
And what a great thing to have. People who
So
are
good.
excited to create content for your brand. So the next section that we're going to tell you about is what is the single most effective, and I mean single, what is that one message that you're trying to get across? You can't throw a bunch of messages in there. Your customer's going to get confused.
Yeah. So for this one, we're going to talk about the Groupon Tibet commercial.
Now this one, it's kind of rough because it starts out as showing Tibet, and they're talking about the plight of Tibet. Their culture's disappearing. They're in squalor.
They have all these beautiful imagery of Tibet.
Oh, and then they switch to their spokesperson in a
Restaurant
in Chicago, and basically living the life and saying, I got this cheap. I got this. I'm basic. It sounds like they're saying I got this at the expense of Tibet. So I'm going to rule on this one. I'm going to call this a cringeworthy bait and switch. That's going to result in a PR nightmare and a loss of opportunity. It's kind of sad.
Why would you do that? Okay, the last one we have, the last question that you ask yourself is, what else is there to know about your audience that supports this message?
Yeah, really, you're trying to connect your audience, your message. What are those things that kind of, those little strings that are going to be interesting?
And so you're kind of looking at some of the other interesting things, not the stereotype of that person, but what else is there that you can really use to support your message? And this is kind of the deep dive, and we felt that a commercial that demonstrates this very good is the 2014 Ram truck commercial. And this is a commercial that really stood out that year.
Yeah, it had a voiceover from Paul Harvey talking about his talk about how God created the farmers.
It's had imagery, and really they don't even show the product throughout the whole commercial. It's all about this culture of a farmer. And so then they don't even show the truck until the very end, where there's a Ram truck and they talk about hard work.
God made a farmer.
Perfect. Well, let's make the ruling on this one.
Okay.
This one is a
Touchdown!
I mean, really, when you're looking at these commercials this year, take yourself out of it. I mean, have your initial reaction, but look at it. I mean, if you didn't like it, think about, am I the target audience? What was their message? What was their purpose of doing it? If their purpose was just to get exposure, then maybe they already hit their purpose.
Yeah. And also think about, put yourself in the place of their target audience. It's easier to judge a commercial if you understand who they're advertising to and why they're advertising to that person, what their message is. So we hope this has somewhat helped you to enjoy the Super Bowl commercials a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, think down that creative brief. Ask who is their audience, what is their message, did the commercial accomplish anything, and was their message clear? Well, thank you so much for watching. Make sure that you like, subscribe, share, and comment on our video.
And make sure you follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for some extra content.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for the made-up fact of the day, the design of the American football was created by Steve Jobs.
I don't think he was alive at that time.